Are you done? Are you finished? I need to say hi, I'm Jay.
I'm getting literally heat.
It's hot as I put these, I thought I was sexy with these gray sweatpants on. Hi, I'm Jay.
And I'm Allie.
And welcome to Pretty Perspectives Podcast.
So today we'll be diving deeper into why it's important to be alone. So I just have a question. So I know last time we were talking about, the difference between being alone and loneliness and how to, differentiate the two. So I just had a question. So why do you think it's important for someone to discover, why it's important to be alone?
So I think being alone, while we see it as like personal development and time for growth, and it is those things, it makes a huge impact on our relationships later on, or just our relationships in general, whether that be friendships or romantic partnerships. I think it allows you to know who you are in those spaces. So you've heard the term, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I feel that way about who you show up as in relationships. Or when you show up to a space, you're able to fill that space with your energy and bring who you are to the table versus being easily influenced by your surroundings. And I think having that alone time develops the strong sense of self needed to walk into those spaces and be like, Allie's here.
This is who I am.
This is who I am. This is who I choose to be. Right? Not this is who I ended up being. This is who my last relationship made me be.
Not by chance, not by somebody else's label they put on me and now this is who I am, but really creating that yourself.
That was a nugget.
And I also think that it really helps with your confidence in who you are. Like walking into a room with a purpose, even though you may not know where you're going, if it's an event or something like that, but really knowing your purpose when you walk into a room, or when you're in friendships or relationships with people, or even meeting new people. At my business, I get to talk to people all the time, every day, new people, regular people, and I think one of the things that's made a real huge difference for me is knowing who I am, being confident and comfortable with who I am, and knowing that I am a creation not of somebody else but of myself, and at any point I can change that and I can become more. But it's been really exciting to just like watch it or
see it unfold.
Yeah.
And I definitely see it in you as well. It's like it's like wherever you are, you're at home with yourself. You're okay.
Yeah.
With,
no one can
with how it is.
How you feel or anything like that. I like, honestly, this is just my truth. I used to be very, very uncomfortable with men. Very uncomfortable. I don't know what that is, but I've been digging into like what that is for me, and just over time I've noticed the confidence that I now have, because they're not doing anything to me. I know who I am. I know that I have high energy. I know that I'm fun, and it has nothing to do. Right, no one's out to get me, and has nothing to do with them. And it's exciting because now, like, a lot of my customers are men, and I have no problem in saying that. But it's like, who I am, I show up powerfully no matter what. I don't have to diminish myself because they show up. I don't have to, act like some little girl. No, I'm a woman and this is my space. And then, it's like taking that on. So that's been really exciting. And I think the only reason that has occurred is because I've taken the time to study myself. And it's an ever evolving, kind of thing. I'm not perfect, but to see it come to fruition, to feel it in that moment, has been really exciting. So
it has been, because I see it every day.
And I think a lot of women go through that, when there's an alpha male, right, and then we're over here, like, we sometimes feel less than, or we need to be submissive, but no, like, when you show up powerfully as the woman that you are and that you were created to be, it's a different kind of conversation. It's a different kind of, like, engagement with somebody else. Like, no, really take the time to understand your values, understand who you are, what you love, what you like, what you're not going to stand up for, what you're not going to, or not stand up for, but what you're not going to, stand for, but also the stuff you're not going to take, from,
I get that. And I think going back to confidence, there's like a knowing how you show up. Like there's how you show up, and then there's your awareness of how you show up. And that allows us to be able to say, this is what I bring to friendships, this is what I bring to relationships, whether you have your own business or whether I work in a banking environment, but to say, I know the value I bring to this conversation.
Right.
You know, like, I am valuable of people's time, of people's energy. And I think in knowing that, it goes back to what you said around being able to distinguish what you're going to stand for and what you're not going to stand for. You know?
And it also becomes contagious.
Oh,
like,
I love that.
Other people.
Yeah. We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
We're talking about the difference between confidence versus arrogance, and where confidence stops and arrogance starts is where you have to diminish other people to feel bigger. You know? And there's another like nugget you just said. I don't know why I'm saying nugget. I was using nugget today at work anyway. But you said something about being a powerful female. And I think there's a way to be a powerful female and be feminine.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. People assume that that masculinity needs to show up in powerfulness, where power shows up in vulnerability, power shows up in our grace, you know, power shows up in our generosity, and we can lean into that. We can lean into that, especially when we're in a space. Especially when we're in a space where you were talking about being uncomfortable around men. There's a way for feminine and masculine energy to like dance with each other in a way where we both feel big, where we don't have to shrink ourselves to fit into that space.
Right. That and only allows you to flourish more in that space.
Yeah.
As two different human beings, obviously, but showing up powerfully like that together allows you both to flourish. And I think another thing, like being alone and studying yourself, really, because this is really just a study of yourself, right, is, why did I just lose my thought? Just not having that codependency on friends and, you know, in relationships. Let's just say all relationships, right?
But even with women, right, because we talked about men, but, like, how does this apply? I was going to say that in such a funny way. But anyway, how does that apply to feminine friendships?
Well, I think, like, because I've been through it, it's just like we feed on another woman's attention, not like that, but as our friend, right? We feed on their attention, like, what are you doing? We feel the need to always be out, and especially when they have, like, a relationship themselves, and romantic relationships, and then somehow we end up feeling jealous or feeling like we're not, whatever the word is, we're not, you know, cared about, for lack of a better word, or we're not wanted in that friendship. But really what it is like, it's not that they don't want us, or that it's not that they don't have time for us, right? It's that there's time for friends and there's time for other things, right? And if you don't know yourself enough to be alone, right, and you're not even comfortable with yourself, people can feel that energy, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why friendships are sometimes tricky, because sometimes you can feel like you need this person in your life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does. I feel like that is with relationships in general, though. It's like, it's the needing of, I need that. That all ties into, you're looking for someone else, whether that be a romantic partner or a friend, to supplement for what's missing inside of you. Like, you haven't discovered what that missing is. So, okay, when I'm with Allie has great energy, and it's contagious, right? So, in that sense, I'd be feeding off of you, because something in my life is missing. In that case, you know, before I was dealing with, like, a lack of self-expression. So I'm looking for that in other people, not knowing that that's the missing inside of myself that I need to cultivate and develop what that looks like for me to walk around and feel whole and complete without having to, like, have a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
That whole, my other half thing, whether that be a friend or, you know, a significant other, I think is such a, I don't use the word toxic and put that label on it, but such a detrimental term to use and to adopt.
How long do you think it took you to figure that out, about what was missing in your self-expression?
So I was working from home, and I didn't necessarily love what I was doing. I didn't feel like I was having the impact that I'd like to have. So I think in trying different things, I would say if we're asking for a time period, 3 months. If I really look at it, 3 months I was in that space, and between getting a new job and getting to be out there in the world with people, as much as I told myself the story of I'm an introvert who needs to recharge by myself, but I need something to recharge from. You know what I mean? I need to be with people. Life happens out in the world, not in Jalen's head, not in Jalen's office, not in the thoughts that I have. So it's easy for me to get lost in that. So people ground me in that sense. Thinking about what other people need when we talk about from a business standpoint, and getting to know how to maneuver different energies in different spaces is something that I thrive off of. I love the movement of it. I love I feel this person over here, and now I get to experience this person over here, something that I thrive off of. So between finding a job that I love, being reintroduced to humanity, I think, but also with art, I'd stopped drawing and painting and using that talent for so long that I forgot how much I love the idea of having something finished. Like I start something, I have a piece, and it's finished now. And then the podcast, that's something that we've talked about for how long? You know what I mean? And to give you guys a background, this podcast was in the making maybe a year ago. We had this conversation. That'll be a part 3, but anyway.
Procrastinators.
We had a conversation, and we were lit up by it. Timing, not the best timing, and so that kind of fell through. But this time around, after our 4-hour brunch, it was like everything happened so fast. That it was like we didn't even tell anybody until it was like we have our clothes picked out for our first podcast episode. We have a videographer. We don't have to worry about editing. Like everything was already figured out and solidified. And for the first time, it was like Jalen's a planner. I'm talking about myself in third person, but Jalen is a planner. It was like Jalen doesn't have to have the step-by-step blueprint on how this is going to pan out or how it's going to work and what time and what days. And it was like Jalen's just going to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And who I get to show up as when it's like action. Right. You know what I mean? It's just who I show up as. And I know it's going to work because I said it would. And that's like the power of my speech, of my integrity, of what I say is going to happen. And having the sense of self, like going back to being alone, having the sense of self of like, okay, this is who I am. And these are the friendships that I cultivate. It gave me like a confidence in, and I always said that I have the most beautiful people around me. But the confidence in, I know who I am and I know who I surround myself with.
Right.
I know I'm surrounded by big people and big energy and big things. So nothing that we create together won't flourish in some way. Exactly how it's designed to.
Right.
Because success is subjective.
Right. So I'm so excited because although like why it's important to be alone is our topic, right? It's a level of self-awareness that's so important. I think that's deeper than just being alone, right? Mm-hmm. Like you wouldn't have figured that out unless you had to go through it, right? You went through it, and it doesn't matter how much time you've got to take to really look at inside yourself. It doesn't matter if it takes 2 days, if it takes 3 months, 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. But are you willing to get to that level of self-awareness by being alone? Like you're going to have to sacrifice the going out, all of the different things that you can come up with, all the excuses, all the dependent friendships that you hold on to so you don't have to look at yourself. Like, there's just so much that you get to do and who you get to become. So just know that it's not linear. It's going to take time, but you will see the fruits of that time of you know, working on yourself.
And you'll know.
You'll feel it, you'll know. Yeah, and it's just so exciting. So if you have any comments about that, any shares about that, you know, are working on that currently, we'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to even, you know anything else that you'd like to discuss on this podcast, because obviously it goes everywhere.
Yes.
And we're just
what
really
do you
excited.
want to know?
Exactly. We're just really excited to continue to share not only our journeys with you, right, but also how to evolve and be authentic and share with what we're evolving with currently.
Yeah. You guys are a part of that journey. Like, who we get to be is all a part of that. So we're growing, you're growing, and if you have any other topics, of course, feel free to comment them below. If you got value out of this video and want to see more, please like, comment, subscribe, and turn your post notifications on.